and punched me in the leg. It was a love tap because I was his friend, but I felt it. It was it gave me a dead leg. Yeah. T-Bone said to me, "I didn't mean to hurt you, man. I just wanted to let you know how it felt." Alright, T-Bone now continuing to tell his story. "Everything happened so fast," T-Bone said. "While I recoiled, Monkey dropped down like an ape. Karate punched me right into the femur, right here." He showed me where it was. It numbed my whole leg. "It took every bit of mind control from training in football, the Marine Corps, street and prison life to get my mind back. To control the pain. Monkey rolled on the ground like an ape, kicked me straight in the face. My mouth and nose were bleeding. I fell down. Everything was cloudy, blurry. I'm dazed. He kicked me in the right shoulder, which woke me up. I did a forward roll, came up, grabbed him, and was going to rip him apart. But he was just like a chimp, strong and wiry. I couldn't hold him. He tried to bite my arm. I bolo punched him in the back of his head, but his cornrows cushioned my good 6-inch punch. Bam! Yeah, T-Bone demonstrated on my left arm, and I felt it again. Actually, my whole left side felt it. I told him not to punch my right side, otherwise I wouldn't be able to write this stuff down. So T-Bone continued, "I focused all my energy into one punch. It had took so many people down before, but Monkey elbowed me and did a backspin with his left hand across the bridge of my nose. My eyes were watering, and the next thing I woke up in the hospital, the infirmary. People said he was banging my head on the cement floor. The brothers held him until the cops pepper sprayed the place down. Then Monkey took me outside, out of harm's way. I was shamed for a long time. It took me 2 years to recover mentally from that arse whooping. I had to whoop a lot of tail to get my prestige back of being #1 hog. He whooped me in 25-30 seconds. It was a terrifying experience, and I learned how others felt when I terrified them. Monkey was one of the baddest dudes I ever met in my life. Size doesn't matter. Yeah, look at Conor McGregor. It's combat readiness, skill, and ability to damage a person. He had it deep in his heart. I still have nightmares about Monkey." I want to thank everybody for supporting T-Bone and helping these videos go viral. One's at 200,000 hits now almost. Some people have asked me to start a donation page with T-Bone. I already have a donation page with T-Bone. It's been up for years. I'll put the link in the box below this YouTube video, as well as links to T-Bone's Facebook page and where you can read his letters online. I'm going to keep posting his stuff and supporting him. I try and send him some money every month to put on his commissary, his inmate account. Prisoners can spend $20-30 a week and get extra food. So, the big man is huge. Can you imagine how hungry he is in a prison where the food is barely eatable and really skimpy portions? So this money helps him get some extra food and get some hygiene items and get stamps so he can keep writing these stories and sending them out to me. So if you've got a chance to donate, I would appreciate it for T-Bone, or if you can at least support and help these videos go viral and click over to his Facebook page. Cheers from England. More fight stories coming soon. Question 12. Did anyone escape while I was in prison? Most prisoners fantasize about escape. But how the razor wire works is it shreds off your clothing. The razor's cut into your skin. There's a chemical on it so that your blood doesn't clot. So you leave a trail of blood in the direction that you're escaping. One guy who escaped from Sheriff Joe Arpaio's jail, he was rearrested running down the street naked, bleeding in his pink socks because the razor wire had stuck it. Arizona Department of Corrections, where I was housed later on, private prison took over one of the prisons, and some prisoners managed to escape because the private prison had cut the night patrol to save money. The alarm went off as they escaped, but the alarm had gone off, I think it was over 100 times so far that year, false alarms, so the guards didn't even bother responding. These prisoners got out and sadly ended up murdering some people. They were eventually rearrested. So yes, most prisoners fantasize about it, but only if you do it, because you can get shot dead, or you can get 5 to 10 years added onto your sentence if you attempt to escape and get caught. Thanks for watching this video. If you've got any more questions, please put them in the comments box. Question 11. What stuff in prison did I see made by prisoners that I thought was pretty damn clever? There is so much talent in prison, but the prisoners sadly are not given anything constructive to channel their energy into. So a lot of prisoners develop what's called their own hustle, their own trade, in art products, and they'll sell them to other prisoners. I saw guys make roses out of toilet paper. I saw guys make models like statues, horses, stuff like that out of matchsticks. And the art skills, some of it's really off the scale. I commissioned prisoners to draw art on envelopes that I would use to write to people outside of the prison. And some prisoners, they'll get photographs of prisoners' wives and girlfriends, and they'll do really excellent portraits of those people. So yep, there's a wide range of talent in prison, and you see that manifest in all these various artistic creations that they do. If you've got any more questions, please put them in the comments box.
Now, as promised, let's talk about noodles. When was the last time, yes, you heard that, listening to the BBC? Well, we always aim to surprise on this programme. It turns out that ramen noodles have overtaken tobacco to become the most valuable commodity in some American prisons. Research said it was down to the fact that prisoners aren't getting enough food, and what they do get isn't very good. So, when you're locked up, what counts as valuable? The whole system of barter, I guess, is something that for many people who've never spent time inside, they may be completely unfamiliar with it. So we're going to discuss it and get some perspectives. We can talk to Sean Atwood, who is here in the World Have Your Say studio. Hello, Sean.
Thanks for having me on, Chris.
Tell me, you're a former prisoner yourself, aren't you? So you've spent time inside.
I did. I take full responsibility for throwing raves, importing ecstasy, and ending up in one of Arizona's deadliest jails. The food, breakfast, it was mouldy bread and green bologna. Green bologna is like a raw sausage meat, gone past its sell-by date, got a green shine to it. Mould on the bread, blue, green. Sometimes our mould came with these fantastic colours like psychedelic works of art, and we just scrape it off. Evening meal was a mystery meat slop that we called Red Death. Looked like carroty vomit blended with blood, all kinds of random meat in it, and it stunk. Occasionally there was dead rats in it. One time we gave a rat back to the guards, we complained, and they came back later in the day and said the jail won't get any trouble. They said it was just a potato.
Answer the listener who is shouting at the radio now saying that's what you deserved because you'd been sent to prison.
Yeah, I do. I take full responsibility for committing my crimes, and it was part of my punishment. And it's because the food is so bad that things like ramen noodles become commodities. They're portable, they last a long time, sell-by date-wise. You see the guys getting sacks of them from the store. Once a week you're allowed to buy items from the inmate store. You spend like $20, $30 a week. And then they all trade the noodles to settle their debts, which are mostly drug debts.
Let's bring in Erwin James to the conversation, the writer and author of the book Redeemable. And Erwin, you're a former prisoner yourself. Does this all ring true that ramen noodles would be worth high up on the currency stakes given the state of the food in prison?
Well, I think what's happened over the past sort of 15 years in this country is that cuts have been so severe that prisoners in this country are regularly using food as commodities. I mean, the thing is, if you've got a good job in the laundry, you might trade some food to get some good laundry done. Or you're in the clothing store, you might trade some food to give someone some decent clothes, you know. we now have breakfast packs in our prisons in the UK where people are locked up at 5 o'clock with a tiny portion of cornflakes and a third of a pint of milk, and that's supposed to be their breakfast in the morning, but of course most of them eat it at night time, and there's nothing for breakfast. And I totally agree that, I mean, I was in prison for 20 years, and the food was never, cordon bleu. It was never the best, but it kept me alive, and I'm grateful that I was looked after.
And what were you in prison for, Owen?
I was convicted of murder in 1984, and I deserved all that was coming to me. So I was never expecting, top-class food. Having said that, at least when I first went in, you got porridge. It was splodgy and stodgy, and it wasn't the best food you ever saw, but it was sustainable. And because of the cuts, the budget cuts now, it's almost impossible for people in prison to get by, on a reasonably full stomach.
Let's bring Gustavo Alvarez into the conversation. Since the age of 15, spent a total of 13 years in and out of prisons across America. Hello, I think you prefer to be known as Goose, is that right?
Yeah, that's fine. That's not a problem. How you guys doing?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for coming on. So ramen would be the gold standard, would it, in prison?
Yeah, it's actually the staple that everybody uses to cook. Everybody in prison, no matter who they are, they're going to cook with ramen.
And so it would be the absolute thing that would be sought above anything else, would it? Above tobacco, above, I don't know, deodorant?
Well, you know what? It's a hot commodity because, like I said, that's everybody's staple. So not a lot of inmates like to eat the chow that's served in chow halls. So they try to take back the beef or the potato, something that could be useful to add to an ingredient when they go back to their cell with ramen. And it also becomes a currency. An equivalent to $1 is what each ramen piece is nowadays. Of course they're used for gambling, they're used for paying debts. Maybe you want to buy some clean linen and you go to the laundry guy, hey, here's like 10 suits, let me get some fresh sheets, some clean shirts, whatnot. It's a bartering tool.
Sean, we've just got 2 minutes left, but I'm intrigued around that whole issue of food and the experience of it getting worse.
Yeah.
I mean, some, as I say, would make the point that prisoners get what they deserve. I guess the counterpoint would be that if the situation gets so bad, actually managing the prison, managing the jail, where you have lots of very hungry people, might become an issue for the prison authorities.
Some of the prisoners get an aggressively hungry look in their eyes. I saw prisoners going through trash looking for food. I saw people drop food, other prisoners pick it up and eat it off a dirty floor. It does cause problems, it causes tension. When you're that hungry, you're feeling aggressive, and it's a powder keg in there anyway. The slightest little thing, anything can happen.
Owen, do you think things will change? Or I guess just politically in the States, why would you ever want to be the person who says, let's make it easier for prisoners?
Well, the thing is, it's not about making it easy, Chris. It's about making it reasonable so that people get out, have a chance of getting out, less likely to cause more harm and distress to other people. If you treat people like dogs and like animals in those places, and you have them, fighting for survival, the likelihood is that people that get out of those places are not people you want as your neighbours. So, one of the reasons I still write about this and talk about it, despite my own shame of my own past, is that I think we deserve prisons that let people out less likely to cause harm and distress. And at the moment, we don't really care. We get out of prison and we make it by chance, not by design. And food is fundamental to somebody's, well-being.
Thank you. Owen James there, you heard from Sean Atwood as well as Gustavo Alvarez, reflecting on their time in prison and the value of ramen noodles, overtaking tobacco has become the most valuable commodity in some.
Light slant. Now all these cells are originally designed for one person to work, so put 3 people in the cell. I've seen them, but there's only one guy in the cell. That's it. Top button is where I come from. Right. It's not quite right. Just walk into the cell and start to sense movement on the walls and the ceiling. And I'm wondering, are my eyes playing tricks? So I put my face right up to the wall. It's covered in cockroaches, just swarming all over the wall, doing loop-de-loops. I backed away from the wall. pops off the ceiling, lands on me, bounces on the floor, look up, and they're all over the ceiling as well, doing these loopy-loop movements. I'm thinking, you know, how on earth? Cockroaches. Went to the toilet, used the toilet, grabbed the toilet roll, cockroach darts into the toilet and tickling me, making me jerk like that, and I lose the toilet roll. In the end, I'm looking at my cellmate, you know, he's up there because even though they were coming out all the cracks, there was bunk brackets at the bottom of the wall where they were just pouring out of, like, just crawling all the onto the He'd wrapped himself in the sheet basically to keep him off. So I tried that. The sheet trapped into your body. You've got all these bleeding and itching skin infections and bed sores, and it condition to the point where it's so unbearably itchy you can't possibly sleep. So over time it became a battle for me to see how long I could keep the sheet on before I just took it off. What if you can't sleep day after day like that? I started losing it, and to me I was on the verge of straight down. The cockroaches were, I was watching them inches away from my face on this wall, you know, just and I'd take the sheet off eventually because I couldn't sleep. And I'd feel them then, the presence near my feet, and they'd start tickling my feet, they'd come up my legs, they would tickle my hands. You know, to this day, if my girlfriend, if she tickles my hands, I flinch because I woke up so many nights with the cockroaches just tickling my hands. They try to get in your ears, to eat your earwax. It's like honey to you. Yeah, so I had to get put on my over time, I got off the medication. Yoga meditation.
L'ennemi est sur le point de l'emporter.
Can you request to be moved cell in prison? Do you think this is a hotel? You just go to the reception? Well, once you get in there, you get assigned your cellmates, or you get assigned a new cell. You're new to the system. You meet your cellies, and hopefully you guys are going to get along and you're going to have each other's backs. But if you don't get along, if there's an issue, for example, say you're a non-smoker and you end up in a cell with smokers, there are ways to play the system to get moved out of a cell. Now, you can't go and say you're getting threatened by your cellmates because that makes you a snitch. KOS, the gang rule for snitches, kill on sight. But what you could do, because there's been lawsuits about non-smokers suing prisons because they're getting all this second-hand smoke, you could go to your counsellor and just say, hey look, my cellmates are smokers, I'm not a smoker, is it possible to get me reassigned to a cell that's got a non-smoker in it? And more often than not, you know, if you've not got disciplinary tickets against you, if you've not been breaking the rules and already built up a rap sheet in prison, the council say, yeah, you know, hang tight for so long, they don't just do these things overnight, it can take weeks, it can take months to get moved out of your cell, but they are usually accommodating. If you've not got any problems for the prison created by you, then they will move you eventually. You know, some cellmates come up with all kinds of ways to get different cellmates. There's guys in there who've got, they're in love with another dude and they end up getting shacked up in a cell together because they know how to play the system. They know what kind of things to say to the counsellor to get them that cell so they can house up together like that. And the prison just wants everything, you know, they want people getting along, they don't want violence, they want things running smoothly. So they will, to an extent, allow you to move to a different cell, provided you are not a known troublemaker. Cheers. Any more questions, put them in the comments. Question number 3 is, how do they do laundry in prison? Now, I was in the Maricopa County Jail in Phoenix, Arizona for my first 26 months. And in there, they had you in the B-stripe black and white pyjama outfits. About every 3 or 4 days, a guard would come along
and yeah, laundry, exchange, and you'd go down, you'd take off your black and white outfit, hand it back in, and then the guy would just throw another outfit at you. Size you got, so if you got the wrong size, you just trade it out with another prisoner. Now, in the jail, after a day in the outfit, you start to stink like a wet dog. So the other way to get your laundry done is through prisoners whose hustle it is to clean other prisoners' laundry. So for example, if you've got a visit, girlfriend, wife, family member, and you want to look good and smell good as possible under the circumstances, you go to a youngster who offers a laundry service. He has access to bleach, he'll wash your clothes, it's so hot out there it dries quickly, and by the next day it will be all spick and span, and you can go to your visit and put on a nice smelling outfit than the old wet dog. Now when you go over to the prison system, it's different. You don't just have one clothing exchange. They give you an outfit when you go in. The orange jumpsuit, like you've seen in Orange is the New Black, and a couple of pairs of boxer shorts, stuff like that. Once you hit the prison yard, you can actually purchase more clothes. So in prison, depending upon your security level, you'll have access to building up an inventory of clothing which you own yourself. Now obviously you don't, when the laundry day comes, you don't just want to throw this off at the guard and take a new outfit because it's your laundry. You actually put it in a net bag, and you have this bag and it has your prison number on it, and you tie it at the top and you put that in, and it gets washed in this giant machine. All the laundry bags come back out, and then when they're done they bring them to your yard. They yell out the numbers on the bags, and when you hear your number, that's how you claim your bag back. Prisoners also offer a variety of services in the prison system. For laundry, get your laundry washed, you can get tailoring done. I had a guy in there who was my Jeeves basically. He was like pressing my clothes and getting everything spick and span for my visits for me. So there's a lot more options in the prison system than there is in the county jails, which house mostly unsentenced prisoners. Any more questions, please post them in the comments below this video. I'm happy to do another video on them. And all the links to my social media are in the information box at the foot of this video, which says show me more. Click for that. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Sean Atwood here. Spent almost 6 years in Arizona State Prison System doing a video series of prison questions. Question number 2. What is the etiquette for going on the toilet in prison? Now, the etiquette depends upon your security level. If you're stuck in a cell with your cellmate all day, like in maximum security or super maximum security, and you've got to go on the toilet, generally you'll say something to your cellie like, "Hey cellie, gotta take a crap." And your cellmate, out of respect for you, if he's reading on his bunk for example, might turn around and face the wall so he's not stirring directly at you while you're on the toilet. Now, you don't just go on the toilet and drop a load and flush. I learned early on from an old timer, he said when you drop one, you flush right away. You drop one, flush right away. And the reason is because when you do drop one and flush right away, it minimizes the smell, which again is something that's going to affect your cellmate, so it's out of respect for your cellmate. Now at the lower security levels, minimum, medium, where you can go out to rec, onto a recreation field or into the day room, if you've got to go, you might say to your cellmate, "Hey Sally, I gotta go," and your cellmate will then step outside into the day room or into rec, and wait for a good period of time till the air's cleared before he comes back. Some peculiar things cellmates I came across did. Some, for example, would wrap a towel around the head while they're in the cell if another person was having a number 2. Or some, after they went on the toilet, they'd spray things like, I don't know, the hair products and stuff like that that you could get from the inmate store at the lower security levels to try and disguise the smell, their own smell. But I found myself gagging on both smells when they did that. Another tip is if you're going to court, then it's an all-day thing. Where we was at, they wake you up at midnight and you don't get back till late the next day. So you want to try and go before you get into that court transport situation, because if you get down to the court cells, you're packed in there with 30 or 40 guys. There's one toilet in the holding tank, and you can imagine the states of these toilets with guys just peeing on them all day long. If you do bite into a green bologna sandwich and find you gotta go, then you gotta go. But again, it's the same rule: drop one, flush one, drop one, flush one, so you're not stinking the cellmate out too badly, and you got all these guys yelling at you. Even though some guys end up doing that, and I was subjected to that. A lot of the people in the holding tanks, when there's 40 guys in there, they'll wrap their clothes around their faces when somebody goes, and it's really foul smelling. Anyway, if you've got any more questions, please post them in the comments, and I will do further YouTube videos. And at the foot of this video are the links in the Show Me More box to all my social media. Please follow my channel. Appreciate your interest. Sean Atwood of Banged Up Abroad here at Interesting Talks in London to talk about the 10 most important lessons I've learned in my life.
But on to tonight. Well, this is Sean's third time here. He had 2 sold-out talks already, one last year and one this year. And now it's about his time on, well, being banned abroad. Today is slightly different. Today is about his new book, which he does have for sale here today, which you can get in the interval, not theatre, in the break and at the end. And his new book's only £5 as well. And that's 10 lessons 10 lessons of life from a drug lord. So please welcome your speaker this evening, the very, very interesting Mr. Sean Atwood.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much for being here, everybody. How many of you have actually seen my prison talk? So the majority have not. All right, I'll just give you a little backstory first then. As a young person, I'm from a small industrial town in the northwest. My goal was to go to America and make $1 million in the stock market from when I was in my mid-teens. I started following the stock market when I was 14 and made my first investment when I was 16. I got hooked on it at a young age. So I went off to America, made $1 million in the stock market. Money went right to my head. I was only in my late 20s. I started throwing Manchester-style rave parties with it. Got people bringing tens of thousands of hits of ecstasy in from Holland, so I'm knowingly breaking the law. SWAT team smashed my door down, and I end up in the jail that's got the highest rate of death in America, where not only were the gang members murdering the prisoners, even the guards were murdering the prisoners. 62 people died in there over 5 years while I was there. So, you know, I deserve to be punished. I take full responsibility for breaking the law. America was good to me, and I pushed it to its limit. But while I was in there, I saw all the human rights violations, dead rats in the food, you know, cockroaches crawling all over us at night time, no air conditioning, got bed sores and skin infections constantly and stuff like that. And most of the guys in there couldn't read and write, so I had an idea to start a blog to expose what was going on. My writing was smuggled out, got put on the internet, and it went on to attract international media attention to the conditions. And that jail actually got shut down 2 years after that, the media attention got on that blog. But unfortunately, that sheriff runs 6 different jails, so a lot of that stuff is still going on. Now, last time I was here, I did the prison talk, so today I'm going to speak about the 10 most important lessons I've learned in my life. I've had to learn everything the absolute hard way. I'll start with learning to love the right person. How many times do you guys think I've been married? Any guesses, please? 5. 3, yeah, we got it. 5, almost. Still working on it. Okay, so I get to America, university graduate, and I'm in a bar, and I meet a beautiful Asian lady, and she asked me to help her move her piano. So I agree to this, not having any idea what it's going to involve. Anyway, I get to her house. She's got this grand piano that I can't even budge. But she's cooked some lovely food, and it continued from there and there and there. Anyway, after 6 months, She was 10 years older than me, and she said, I'd feel more secure in our relationship if we got married. I'm thinking, that sounds like fun, you know, I'm thinking, not having put too much thought in it. So I agreed, and shortly after we got married, all hell just started breaking loose. I would be in the shower, and she'd burst in with a Ginsu knife and try and slash my penis off. Yeah. Bit my arm, was on my arm for about 10 minutes like a dog. I could not get her off my arm, and to this day I've got her teeth marks imprinted on my arm. So anyway, I'm young, emotionally immature, pretty clueless, and I'm thinking, all right, if you've got married, you're committed for life, you're supposed to stay with this person. The person's got mental health issues, you try and help them work their way through it. Big mistake. Helping her work her way through it, we took her to the doctor, and she got on medication, and she was completely normal for a long time. I'm thinking, all right, you know, everything's how it should be now. Anyway, her sister flew over from Asia, and we went to pick her up at the airport, and the sisters are talking, and it all sounds like it's going really well. And I'm working in a high-rise office building right next to where I live as a stockbroker at this time in the early 90s. So I'm going home for my lunch and stuff, and the sisters are still there, and it's, you know, it's all, feel like it's going fine. Then about 3 days in, I come home, open the door, and my wife's got this really angry face that I was familiar with from earlier. And she said, my sister said, the medicine I'm on is Western poison. You're trying to send me to heaven to join my mom, because her mom was, which is one of the things that moved me about her when I first met her. And, you know, and then she started chasing me around the living room, throwing plates at me and stuff. Now, we've got a glass table, and one of these plates lands on the glass table and cracks it, so it's got all these jagged pieces. I'm thinking, what the hell am I going to do here? So I lock myself in the bedroom, barricade the door,